JK, if you'd like to introduce yourself and your company.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, James. Thanks, Leon, for being here, and also for inviting us and for hosting this as well, James. It's great that you selected Kuala Lumpur, my home, home for many of us as well, to host this event. And my name is JK or Jiun Kai from Infobip. So I'm heading the carrier relations for Infobip for this region in APAC, dealing with the telcos, and which is why we are here. We are a member of MEF, actively contributing to the ecosystem, the messaging ecosystem, working closely with James' team as well globally, not just here in APAC, but globally as well, involved in many of these panels, discussions, initiatives, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, and all this as well. And great to see many old friends from Singapore, from the region here today. It has been a while. I think last we met was pre-pandemic, and now great to see many familiar faces here today, post-pandemic. All right, thanks.
Fantastic. Okay, let's get straight into it. Data. There's a huge amount of data around the world, and various people say different things as to what percentage of that is actually useful in any way, shape, or form. But one number I keep hearing regularly is 90%, and that is the number of what's called dark data, i.e. the data created all around the world that actually isn't useful for anything. So that leaves 10% of data, depending on who you listen to and where you might be, that actually could be of use. So it's customer care and data. We introduced and we opened the door to talking about mobile operators in the previous panel and the role they have to play, and this very curious role, because we are here talking about content and payments, that mobile operators play in that area, in that in the psyche of a consumer, the mobile operator is responsible for absolutely everything and not actually the content provider. So JK, you're responsible for mobile operator relationships. Can you just talk about the importance and, let's say, the brand value that mobile operators have in your region and globally, and why this is that mobile subscribers think all roads lead to mobile operators?
Yep, definitely. You see, from our side, let's say, for start, all right. So every day we are doing, I think, continuing from what they were discussing earlier on, from there. So today we are talking about digital commerce and how you actually runs it through mobile, and then behind it you have a telco that actually provide the infra for you, whether you are connected through your mobile data or through, let's say, laptop, which also relies on the internet backhaul, which is also provided by the ISP, which is also a telco in this case, right? So actually, every activities are actually, what can we say is that it's able to be monitored in a way. Example, for some telcos, if you are on certain packages, they allow you free access to, let's say, example, social media. You will not use your data for WhatsApp when you browse Facebook, Insta, because they know the traffic that is going through. And also, when you access it. And that's where telco actually has the ability to actually determine they can actually identify your activities. And then from there, actually, they should do a lot more in terms of personalization, in terms of providing the user with better, let's say, customer service or customer care across the board, not just limited to your telco specifically on your subscription with them or your let's say usage, but then helping the industry as well across the board, by actually enabling, let's say, this type of data to be accessible to help protect what we say, fraudulent activities, scams, and all these things.
Just to the very, very practical aspects and staying with mobile operators, Leon, how many mobile operators out there, because Sam Media, you operate in many, many different countries around the world, but how many operators out there actually have a specialized department within customer care looking at, for example, the whole area of direct carrier billing, payments, or even messaging? How many operators have that?
Not many, actually. The problem is customer care has an image problem. Customer care is often seen as a burden. So we have a product, so we need to supply customer care. We have to deal with customers that maybe have questions or are unhappy, and that is often seen as a burden. Well, that's the cool thing about this forum. It's called data and customer care. Those things are very related because customer care is not a burden. It's actually a huge opportunity. The data that comes from customer care helps you improve the product. And if you use that data correctly, you have less complaints, you have less questions. Let's start with questions. If you want to improve the usability of your product, all you have to do is all the people that contact your customer care and tell you, I can't find this, I don't know how to do this, to translate all that data, all that information into better usability. So if what people tell customer care departments ends up at the product team, and the product team uses that to improve the usability of the product, you will have less complaints. And that's the gold in customer care. And it's the same with all kinds of other aspects. I mean, they tell you not only how complicated your product is, or they are not able to find this or that, but they also can be unhappy about something, like I didn't understand something, or the marketing was maybe not clear. I ran into a subscription, I suddenly have an app and it goes off my bill, but I'm not aware of this. This information gets to you through customer care, and you can use that to improve and get less complaints. We see some mobile operators absolutely making big moves there, but there's a lot to do. Again, it's the image. The image of customer care is it's a burden, it's a problem. We need to supply customer care, but it's an opportunity, absolutely.
I was about to come to JK and ask about the opportunity side of things. I think the reality is, and we've got to face it, I know all of us in this room, we're specialised in the areas of content. That could be direct carrier billing, it could be mobile messaging, SMS, whatever it might be. If we look at mobile operator revenues, and you'd actually see how small a percentage their revenues for direct carrier billing or even messaging are, that then brings some realization as to why there might not be that focus. So for example, mobile messaging, so-called application to person A to P messaging, business to consumer messaging, for some mobile operator groups, well, it does range between being 0.25% of their revenue to, in the best case scenario that I'm aware of, 2.5% of their global revenue comes from business to consumer text messaging. Then you move into direct carrier billing, it's less than that. So there's an understanding perhaps why they might not have that focus. But JK, it's not just about dealing with a potential complaint from the consumer. There's a huge opportunity in having the correct data available to actually grow that business with the consumer if that call is handled correctly.
Definitely. I mean, I think for start, before even expanding across to other, using those data towards other industries or other elements, telco themselves actually have to utilize it for their own customer care. Let's say today, I'm not sure, in this region if you encounter the same, but at least for me, with my telco provider, whatever they marketing it, when you actually question back through the customer care, they can't actually understand, which one you are referring to. An example also, I'm sure if you are in Malaysia, you are aware that lately a lot of scam issues happening, especially on the banking sector towards the application. And then it actually happens on the APKs where the fraudsters are stealing your data. So which is why, since I have most of my salary transferred to my wife, and so she needs to take care of the money, it's important for me to ensure that her account is safe. So, when iPhone 14 launched, I decided to subscribe, to actually get the iPhone 14 from the telco. Surprisingly, after I subscribed, which means that I'm on a 24-month contract, 2 months down the road, they actually offer me again. I was like, can I sign another one? So they themselves, they don't utilize the data that they have. I mean, that I can't subscribe anymore. I can't get another phone anymore. If you're willing to give me, I'm okay, since I don't need to be committed that long for 2 phones. Why not? But the thing is that they themselves even can't use their data from left to right and holistically use it as a whole. So they themselves should start using it in their own aspects as well. And then also from there, provide better support. Example, talking about DCB. So which means that every transaction that they do, they actually aware about it. They know about it and when it was triggered. And then they should be able to actually, address immediately when somebody actually reach out to them. Okay, I didn't subscribe to this, or I used my credit card here for this transaction, but you know where the subscriber were that time. Those subscribers where they were actually transacting that, or their location. But then this is not being fully utilized. And what's more, they have lots of data. Today we are talking about data orientation. A lot of data being collected from the telco. They spend so much into storing that data, but not able to utilize it. And it's more of expenditure than benefit in this case. You are storing terabytes or more than that of data, where you actually cost a lot to store that, but then not able to actually utilize it and actually gain benefit out of it. And just, like you mentioned, dark data, placed there, sleeping there, and not doing anything.
What about regulation, rules and regulations? We launched out with that on the first panel, and we all, I'm sure, have experienced many situations or come across companies who said, no, we can't do that because of data protection reasons. We can't tell you this, we can't reveal that, we can't do anything. It's like, come on, I'm trying to do this. You're not helping me here. I've been a customer of you for 10 years. What are you doing? And it's like, oh no, for GDPR in the EU, General Data Protection Regulations, or it could be in South Africa, personal, it's POPI, I think is the regulation in South Africa. Wherever it may be, regionally, we've got all these issues. How do we educate? It's not just mobile operators. I know we're talking about mobile operators, not just mobile operators, that actually you can do something and that rules and regulations do allow this data to be shared in the right way. How do we go about that, Léon?
Yeah, stick to the rules. There are clear rules and regulations within codes like GDPR, like if you want to do things with data, you can only do it this or that way. So if you stick to their rules, there's no problem. But I think it's a problem of not knowing the rules, where a lot of companies are like maybe, yeah, let's say lazy. They hide themselves behind GDPR and say, oh, we can't do that, we can't share that. It's very easy said, for, especially for a customer care employee, like, one other problem solved. Sorry, I can't share that. So it's that GDPR, for example. I don't know about all the other codes there are personally, but it gives opportunity to do things with data. It's just a set of rules to ensure the privacy of people. But if it's in the people's interest to do something with that data, can't be wrong.
JK, how do organizations who are in this conundrum, we've been talking about mobile operators, it could be other organizations who have all of this data, it's in silos, one hand doesn't know what the other is doing. A perfect example you gave there with your iPhone 14 purchase. Yeah. Unbelievable, but it happens. It's like, come on, that's the worst thing, especially in sales when you've got 2 or 3 people going off to the same account. That doesn't look good either. So those kind of things. Who can those types of organizations go to? How do they approach resolving those issues?
I guess this is where those companies, the corporates, they should actually work closely with their providers that that can actually provide them or consolidate all these data together, so that from a marketing's perspective, okay, what has been engaged towards a user, and then what channels these users are actually, let's say, reacting to it, and then what is their reaction to it, and all this data. It's not just about broadcasting, but then and just leave it there. But then all the reactions and all these things should be captured in a way, and it actually should have, also expose it to the customer care side as well. Whenever people have questions, because when you run a campaign, a brand, a retail or anything, when they run a campaign, definitely you are expecting people to actually come in, right? Through that campaign, whether to purchase, to inquire. So when people are inquiring, and that's where you should know that, okay, this person actually received this campaign that we actually just broadcasted. And actually they need a vendor that can actually help to consolidate all the, the left and the right, combine it together and have a, single view. Whenever whoever actually access it should be able to see that, okay, when we actually ran this to whom, and then how this person actually receive it, whether this person actually click on it or forward it to someone else. In this case, this type of tracking should be viewable from, especially for the customer care department or customer care personnel, because that's where most of the inquiries will be coming in. Whether through live chat, through call-in, or through any other medium as well. So they need to actually have a vendor that can actually help them to actually consolidate all this together in a single view, rather than having one vendor from here, one vendor from another for the other part, and they themselves have to consolidate, which they don't know how, or they don't have that capability to actually do that.
Partner with experts in that area. That's your recommendation. Yep. Léon, what's your take on that situation?
Well, it's safe to say, like I said, a lot of companies see customer care data. They don't see the opportunity of customer care data. So
upsell. They use it as a sales opportunity.
They use
as
it
well.
yeah, but in regards to billing, for example, they don't see the opportunity, especially when it comes to people who have questions about a transaction or who have a complaint or a question about a product. They don't know what to do with it. And upsell, that's a good point indeed. A lot of call centers and operators are there to upsell, and if the customer care employee is not seeing an opportunity to upsell that customer because it's an angry customer, because he has a subscription and he wants to end it, then for that customer care employee is like, ah shit, I can't make a bonus on this one. So just send him away or do something, or just unsubscribe him, don't inform him, don't ask questions. It would be a very good question. Why do you want to unsubscribe? What happened? What is unclear? How can I help you? So what Media started to do years ago already is take more and more control over customer care. And luckily we also deal with operators, with mobile network operators who are like understanding this game and see the opportunity. So what in some cases happen is that in the call center of a mobile network operator, somebody does an inquiry about a product of Media, and the call center is briefed to put them through with our call center. And this way, the customer is helped, and it's not a burden for the customer care center of the mobile network operator either, because the problem is solved, the reporting is open, we share the data with them as well, so they can also see what we register, and we have control. So in our customer care team logs exactly what happens, because what we want to know is like, okay, why did this customer want to unsubscribe, or why wasn't it unclear how to start this game, or how to collect the diamonds in this game, whatever. So we need that information to improve the usability, but also the marketing. So what we also do is we connect the marketing data with the complaint or the inquiry from the customer. So in the end, if we, for example, have a banner or a campaign which is slightly misunderstood by consumers, we basically know it within 24 hours because we connect inquiries and complaint data with the marketing data. And then you can see, okay, this Google campaign is not very successful. Maybe it converts well, but it raises questions with consumers. Let's stop this campaign. This is not clear. So you can also improve campaigns and marketing with it. But it's all like getting the data, taking customer care data serious, and connect it with all the other data you have about your marketing, about your product. It's a gold mine. Sorry.
JK, let's talk about customer care and how it's evolved over the years. The traditional pick up the phone, talk to someone, probably wait online before my call is answered for 10, 15, 20 minutes. In many situations, that's history because you've got messaging, or let's say chat, starting to be used. How is customer care developing, and how are you seeing it across your clients, across the whole region?
Yep, definitely. I mean, I think last 3 years, that's where the whole landscape changed, pretty much. Because back then, like you mentioned, prior to that, you need to pick up a call, and most of the time, you need to wait, if you're lucky, 15 minutes. If you're not, potentially even an hour, just to get a small thing sorted out. And a small thing that can be sorted out in 2 minutes. And you waited for 1 hour because it's important for you. But somehow, the wait is long. So during the pandemic, people are not able to go into the store or walk into the store. Let's take telco as an example in this case, right? So during pandemic, you need a lot of data. You need your connections because everything is from home. you're working from home and you rely on the internet services and etc. So there's a lot of engagement with the telco in a sense. Some of the prior to that maybe you don't have a fiber internet at home, and then that's where you need it, and then you start to actually get engaged. But the thing is that you can't be at the retail, and you need to actually get in touch with them to do some all these subscription and sign up. So in this case, that's where it moves on from conventional call to chat communication, messaging communication. Example, they can be reached out through live chat. They can be reached out through even WhatsApp as a channel, this type of channel, depending on location. Some you can reach out through Viber, Line, etc., depending on which country they are. So like in Malaysia, WhatsApp is the dominant OTT channels in here. So most of the telco, they actually move into that, where you can actually reach out via live chat or channels like WhatsApp. And in that case, it's actually helping the brands as well to increase their efficiency. Because in a call, one agent is able to only address to one inquiry at that time. I have not seen before any agent can just pick up. I think that's only in the movie where you see people, hanging their phones everywhere, and then, and suddenly left, right, 1, 2, 3, and then you kind of mix it up, everything now. But then in the actual world, it's only one agent per call.
But this is where chat comes in.
Correct.
Because then an agent does look after 4 or 5 at the same time.
Exactly. So they need, that time, there's a new breed of, let's say, expert keyboard master. Keyboard masters are the one that, behind the screen, and they are the one that actually, at one go, answer to 4 to 5 clients together. And then, on the other hand, that's where the data are important, because they need to have a single view, rather than, putting 10 monitors and searching for all the details, oh, okay, customer A, okay, I need to search for details, or what was done, whether whatever they need, are we able to address, and etc., all the details that they are talking about. So that's why it's important to have a single view that, okay, now the telco is also taking, leveraging on the situation and trying to offer some of these promotions. So in this case, okay, which one and what is the, how does it relate and everything, so that they can actually convey and answer effectively towards the inquiries that are coming in. So that's important that, for them that, okay, with this, they build up the, to have the chat channel and also putting up chatbots to actually address to some of the common questions that can be actually addressed through the chatbots. And then on top of that, those that needed an agent to take over, at least the agent, able to actually address you on the shortest possible time. It could be just a 5 minutes wait instead of an hour earlier on. And everything can be done through chat. And, while for me, if let's say I'm the one who actually submitting the inquiry, while waiting, I can actually work on other things. And I do not need to actually put on the phone next to my ear and waiting, and I'm stuck doing other things.
And doesn't it kill all of us? A little bit of us dies inside when we ring up a company and we go through all the options. It asks us, enter your account number, enter your PIN, enter your date of birth, enter this, enter that. You get through to an agent then and they ask you, what's your account number?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. It's like, how
Classic.
often has that happened? And you're thinking in your head, the brand value in your head goes down.
Yeah.
So this negative customer care experience can absolutely mean that you lose a customer. They never buy from you again. So, Léon, I think we're going to have to close up the panel soon, but can you just say your advice to companies out there that just see customer care as a cost center and a drag? What would your advice be to those organizations?
Well, first of all, like you said, multi-channel, like as much channels as possible is absolutely helpful. But the benefit of all those online tools like chat or Facebook or Twitter support, especially for digital products, is that you can literally help people going through the navigation of the digital product, for example. If people ask questions about your website or about your online product, on the phone, and there would only be a call center on the phone available, like, yeah, I'm on this page, where? Yeah, the call agent is also like, yeah, where is it exactly? Where did you click on? It's very complicated. And nowadays you have techniques like co-browsing, where you can, in a chat, offer the consumer, like, okay, can I see your screen? And then, oh, let's go there together. You take over a little bit of control of his browser, and you say, okay, this is how you do it. But again, it's also important that if your customer care employees continuously have to explain to many people the same problem, like, okay, yeah, it's difficult to buy this product. You have to get that data and use it.
But that comes then
it.
down, and we're going to be talking that later today, the design of the actual product then is at fault. So that needs to be looked at, how these products are designed from all angles. Yeah.
But yeah, the insight from the consumer, it's you get it for free. Just pick up the phone or open your channels,
How
chat.
about actually asking the consumer, how do they want to be contacted? It's radical, isn't it? But are we ever asked by how many enterprises, how many mobile operators that you've been a subscriber have actually asked you how you prefer being contacted? Okay, we've got the checkbox, email or SMS or something like that, but there are, like you mentioned, so many more channels available, and I've personally experienced it so many times in the customer service angle where WhatsApp is used by the hotel I'm in. It's used very, very heavily to great effect. It's super easy.
Exactly. I mean, that's the point where just now Léon was mentioning multiple channels. So brands, they should actually start enabling more channels for people to reach out to them based on their preferences. Some may still prefer to use to wait for 1 hour, all right? But some prefer to go on a live chat, and so especially those introvert, then you get to actually service them as well. And on the other hand, I think what's worth to say is that customer care is no longer just about customer care. It's also a potential revenue generator as well. Like what Léon was mentioning, with the data that the customer care agent able to see, there's a potential of upsell opportunity there. And any upsell is actually a revenue generator to the brand in this case. And based on their, let's say, the user pattern behavior, okay, you have already been doing this. Okay, now we have this. Why not you actually tried it out in this case?
It's about empowering those people, empowering customer care, and I'm sure the subscription word is going to be used quite a lot today as well. And the amazing content that so many of you here create and have at your fingertips as well, making that available as a potential upsell to people when they're calling in as well.
I think one thing we can take let's say there is, let's say Netflix example, all right, Netflix, this person is actually subscribing to Netflix, but through normal means, let's say paying through credit card. And then, when this person actually contacted the telco, where this telco actually...
That's exactly what I was thinking of when I said that, yeah.
So then, in this case, the customer agent can actually suggest, like, hey, actually, we do support DCB in this case. And then now we have a promo. 3 months, you get this discounted rate. Why not you consider changing your payment method?
Do you know what? They were dealing with a problem. Because you had a problem, we'd like to help you with that. But do you know what? The subscriber, even if they didn't have a problem, would be offered that. But they're feeling as though they're getting a deal. People just want to feel as though they get a deal. That feeling is so, so important. But that's it. Our time is up. So thank you very much, Léon. Thank you very much, JK.
Thank you.
And enjoy the rest of the day.